Earth and Star friends. This is a reading that the focus of it is, I'm really excited about this one. What is it that is trying to help you find harmony, balance, calibration? So like what's right on the surface that's just like really close to finding balance, but just needs like a little bit of a push, a little bit of insight, information to help you kind of find that alignment in you that brings just like a greater sense of peace or balance or alignment. So there's 4 different piles. We've got the Empress is number 1. And I love these beautiful cards from the artwork of Leonora Carrington. She's sort of like my muse, and I had to hunt these down because they're out of print. Matched with opalite. And then, it's going to want to roll away. We'll just put that over there. We've got the hirophant. Matched with flower jasper for pile 2. Really beautiful stone. We've got the Emperor matched with one of my favorite stones, turquoise, and I kind of chose this really bright green one, kind of a little bit of lime in there, just like something really vital. And then the last pile 4, we've got this beautiful moon card matched with Dalmatian jasper. All right, so I'm going to give you just a minute here to kind of meditate on the cards. See if I can get this to stay while you guys look at your piles. We did it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute here to meditate on the piles. See which one is, that you're feeling drawn to. This is definitely one. If you feel like you're really out of alignment, maybe you need 2 piles. Leave that up to you. And pause here if you need a little bit more time to kind of check these out and feel into them. Hello, pile 1. If this is you guys, you picked the opalite and Empress pile. And just an overall message. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Doesn't really want to. Anyway, an overall message kind of coming through about this pile and what might help you find a certain sense of peace and calibration and alignment that you might be craving right now is there might be some sort of like rejuvenation and cleanse you need to do in order to form loving relationships and find more meaning to them, as well as like really see and value kind of more divine creation rather than material sort of creation. And I think it's interesting then that we've got this Empress coming through, which really connects a lot with both divine and material creation, but I feel like a lot of times she's really associated with the material world. See if I can get this to focus. It's not wanting to. There we go. Yeah, she's so beautiful. There's some questions to ask. I feel like you may be someone that's like really seduced by, engaged with, good at beauty and creating pleasurable environments and understanding how to take pleasure in things. But one question to ask is maybe if you need to, if we indulge too much, there's like a softness that kind of goes limp, and spoiled energy comes out with that. So is there anything around you that feels spoiled? Are you a little spoiled? I'm gonna ask. Maybe a little bratty sometimes, just putting it out there. We all can be at times, but maybe there's something around that you need to look at in terms of like finding some sort of calibration within you. On the other end of this, another question to ask is if you have created anything lately. And if not, are there some things you need to kind of purge or take out of your life in order to make room for that, in order to feel inspiration about it? Yeah, just a few thoughts around that. The Empress is a beautiful, abundant, amazing card, and there's something about her energy that's just like a slight bit off for you. So it's either like you've what I've said, I'll just review it. Maybe you need to create something, but in order to feel inspired, you need to clear some past things out, or maybe you've become like a little too indulgent and a little bit spoiled in a way, and needing to kind of put yourself under a little bit more pressure to solidify something in you. Pressure can create gems in us, and maybe you just haven't like put yourself under pressure around something, pressure around a creation in a while, and have just kind of been luxuriating or something. Anyway, some things to explore there. And then we have these 3 cards here that are from this really cool deck. Why can't I think of the name of it? I'll try and put it in the description because I can't think of the name of it right now. But it's by an anthropologist who really dove into Comedian principles, and especially around the time when the Greeks were mingling a lot with the Egyptians. And Kemet is sort of ancient Egypt, by the way. So just some ancient wisdoms from around that time before the turn to the new calendar system, where it started at 0, or like the birth of Jesus kind of setting a new calendar in place, or the Romans using that as a setting the year 0. So from right before the year 0, I guess. So the cards that got pulled out here, they each have a meaning, but they also fall in a category. And so there's like core issues, projections, and then actions that are either outward or inward. And you got all 3 cards of yours are actions. The first one is an outward action, and the number 2 and number 3 are inward actions that need to take place. So this first one is about gradual process. And it's saying like slow and steady is the way. So maybe if you've been thinking about putting yourself under a new pressure, making a new creation, or doing a major purge of things around you that have become cluttered, whatever that is, it may feel very overwhelming. And so you've had a lot of resistance around it. And it's saying now is the time to do this. And don't think about where you're trying to get, because that's sort of the scary aspect, because it might feel just so far from you, and like, how could I ever reach that? It's saying to use that Empress energy that sees the abundance and the beauty in everything, to see the beauty in each step. Just look at the one step in front of you and find some sort of pleasure about it. Revel in some sort of pleasure about that. Internally, there needs to be some analysis taken. There's a little proverb that was given for this card that said, the unexplored mind is the most easily conquered. And its message is sort of to really kind of review and get clear about what your intentions and motivations are. So if you do have like a new creation you're wanting to dive into, there might be something that's just like a little bit confused or obscure about it, and that might also be another block from, you know, taking the first step. And so it's just like, you know, spend a little time on that. Do, you know, write out some lists or write a summary or something to just kind of like refine and get clear and really figure out what it is you're trying to do and why, kind of thing. And then the last one of these cards is measurement. It's another internal action to take. And this also has a little proverb, will is the measure of choice. And this is sort of like, the things this card said makes me think that there's some kind of learning process or experience that this new creation or purge or new pressure you maybe need to kind of step up to. Yeah, it's like there's some kind of teaching or learning element going on with this, and to just kind of like recognize what the knowledge is you're seeking and what kind of initiation that might bring into your life. And this might bring a new qualitative and quantitative sense of commitment to what this is. If you're able to kind of measure what this new experience is going to initiate you into, you might find just, yeah, like this extra element of meaning that really motivates something in you. And then this card is from the periodic table. It's these beautiful cards from the Usi. It's called Materia Prima from the Usi brand. And this element is antimony, and they kind of imagined it as this really beautiful goddess. And I just took down a few little notes about what it says about her, that she moves with a natural ease. Her shape gives art its identity. There's enchantment, she's mythic, there's beauty, legendary, magnetism around her. So there's something, you know, I feel like this was such a perfect card to pull in tandem with the empress. It's like you just understand form and function, and you need to do more with it. You need to put this into action to actually create art. And you will, just by putting something into movement, just by being and doing, and looking toward and stepping towards something, you put art into motion. So don't stress about it. It's just like your natural way, I guess you could say. Okay, so I wanted to do a few tarot cards. We're gonna pull some to get a little bit of extra information on these things. See what else comes through about this, kind of Yeah, I feel like more than purging, which may just be like a step to get to the creation, but this is like to find your calibration or some peace within you is like really urging you to take action on like a new creation, a new art, a new development of beauty. Okay, so 7 of Wands. I'm gonna put that under here. Let's pick one under each of these. The Tower. Okay. Several 7s. 7 of Cups, 7 of Wands, and the Tower. Okay. And one more. 2 of Swords. Okay, so there's definitely like a truth. Like you may be, whatever you're feeling called to create or thinking about creating, or if that's a new call to action for you, there's some sort of deep truth you're going to uncover by doing that. An inner truth about your own essence, a truth about the world, some sort of truth about your own divinity, a truth about going back to, you know, the original opalite call to action around being able to form really loving relationships. This creation might help you to see some sort of missing element around something that's eluded you with around relationships, around forming very loving, supportive, solid, secure relationships. There's some sort of truth about the nature of love, about your love nature, about yourself, that this creation is going to initiate you into seeing. Like new knowledge will come up around this. So there's something about, you know, like art and creation. To me, this isn't like, you know, going to therapy or doing some self-help. It's like really diving into art or a creative project or creating beauty in some form that will bring you the knowledge that you need in order to find the truth of what it is you need in order to form really loving relationships. And the Tower to me is saying that you may need to allow old constructs to crumble. And it may be really uncomfortable, but the way you've either loved yourself, loved others, formed loving relationships, understood love, understood relationships, there's some boundary around that, some constructual understanding around that needs to be torn down. And this creation, I always think of something almost being built from within the tower, and the tower can no longer hold it. And so it kind of like the walls fall apart so that this new thing can spring up. So I feel like by starting to dive into this new creation, this new project, this new putting beauty in motion, somehow it's going from the inside will crack some shell you've held or created or was embedded in you around how you view this, how you approach love, how you approach loving. So, you know, that can feel really destabilizing when we do it, but it's for the better, by the end of it, it's like renovating a house. It really, the process of it really sucks. It's frustrating. There's delays. There's certain things that don't go the way you think they should, or I don't know. Just there are frustrations with it, and just the waiting process in general to have this new thing. It can be frustrating. And so this creation is maybe more of a renovation than anything. But it's allowing you to build something much more empowered and aligned for who you are at this point in your life. There needs to be an update. And then last, the Two of Swords. I felt with some of these cards, like some hesitation or some resistance around pulling the trigger with whatever this kind of like new, putting into motion this new energy, project, creation, whatever. With this one, it was sort of like, it's daunting, it's big. With this, it was like getting clear about it. This is saying there's like another block too around a decision you need to take. Like maybe there's two paths and you're kind of sitting on the fence and not sure which one to take. And to me, the Two of Swords is a time to blindfold yourself and not look at it physically, which might be hard for your Empress energy, because you could be someone that's very materially, visually, tangibly oriented, but you really need to close your eyes and feel into your body, and it will direct you. Like seeing that kind of triangle comes down to a point. It kind of starts with these two purple potentials and it comes into a point. You need to close your eyes and allow your body, your intuition, your instinct, rather than what you see or what you might judge in a certain way. Like you just need to feel your body give you the signal, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure the way out, and start this new project, this new renovation, this new putting something, some sort of beauty into motion. And then we're just gonna pick one more card for you guys. It's from the Inner Compass deck, and it just kind of gives you a directional, like what directional advice are you needing to be left with here around finding your calibration, your alignments, how to enter into all the things we've talked about comfortably. Interesting. Okay, so you got party time. Maybe we'll put this right under the Empress. Maybe you're taking, like your ability to make the decision of which path to take, which project to start, which creation to put in motion, the thing, whatever feels really daunting, whatever you're trying to get clear about. Like maybe you're taking this like really too seriously, and maybe it doesn't matter which one you choose, it will lead to the same place. And maybe the intention and motivation is much more simple than you're thinking. You just need to take 10 minutes of time to write this down. And maybe the first step isn't really a big deal, and you need to lighten up and shake something off, have a little fun, and find your rhythm through that fun. And that will just sort of like bring a fresh impulse into your body by kind of letting loose a little bit, and will lead you to your first step. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. And you hold this Empress energy, you know how to have a good time, but there's something maybe around you, that's the imbalance. You're kind of off your Empress path a little bit, maybe because you're taking something just too seriously and resisting, and you just need to shake it off, lighten up, have fun, find that impulse, and go. All right, so that is where I'm going to leave you guys. Pile 1. Good luck on this new potential creation, journey, renovation, whatever it is to you. And I wish you the best in finding your kind of peace and balance and new calibration needed for where you're at right now in life. All right. Hello, pile 2. If this is the pile you chose, you've got this beautiful flower jasper. And this stone holds a little bit around the underlying theme of this reading of what it is that you need some calibration and alignment work on in order to kind of find your sense of peace and resonance, feeling correct. So the flower jasper is really communicating something about being able to take yourself or something in your life from a seed state into a blossoming state. So there's something really fresh and new trying to come out of you, but there might be a little bit of work to either clear past things or align your mind or body correctly in order for that seed to be nurtured the way it needs to be nurtured in order to allow this thing to blossom that's trying to come out of you. Okay, so let's dive into these cards to take a look at what might be going on here. And starting with the Hierophant. To me, there's a few things, questions like I wrote down that I thought might be important. What does authority mean to you? How does your culture inform your sense of tradition? What traditions give you confidence and joy? And looking at this card, it's interesting that this one has these young kids with this sort of authority figure, at least to them. And as children, that's when we get transmissions from our culture about what authority is and how we relate to it and how we fear it, respect it, believe it, what kind of authority we seek, those kinds of things. And I feel like at this point in your life, there's something you need to go back in and review about how you interpret authority and how certain things from childhood may be at the root of what that is. And it might be time to kind of do a revamp there. And just by even looking back and seeing it and being like, oh, that's why I react this way or look for authority in this way or respect or disrespect authority in certain ways. And something about that isn't working any longer for you. You need an update to the way you relate to authority, the kinds of authorities you look up to or seek, or there may be inappropriate authorities in your life right now that you're needing to break away from. But yeah, it's like going back into childhood, specifically like 7 to 14, and really kind of analyze what was communicated to you about authority and what embedded in you, what you interpreted around authority. And just by viewing it, you can really kind of alleviate and dissolve certain things that aren't working for you anymore, or just like view it with your adult eyes, you know, and be like, yeah, that was a weird interpretation, or that shouldn't have been communicated to me, or that's not the kind of authority that works for me anymore, whatever it is. And I think something about that, there's some key with authority and reworking that's going to help this thing that's trying to break out of a shell do so. Okay, and then we have these 3 cards that are from these cultural anthropologists made based on sort of Comedian principles, which is like ancient Egypt, but specifically from around a time when the Greeks were also influencing and trading a lot with them. So it's sort of this Egyptian Greco fusion. And these cards, beyond holding sort of their own symbolism and meaning, also fall in different categories of either a core issue, a projection, or an action that's either an internal action or an external action. And so that's saying a lot. The kinds of cards, the categories that were picked say a lot, as well as what the theme of it is. And so for you, there is a core issue here to work on. So this is a big alignment for you that you're needing like a pretty big recalibration. And there's a projection happening that's blocking you from doing that, from seeing that core issue really well. And then there's one internal action that needs to be taken. So we'll go through these. I'm going to start with the core issue though. I'm going to switch those so I can kind of go in order better. Core issue, projection, action. So the core issue happening is around the sense of vibration. I don't know if you can see on this, they're kind of dark cards, especially on camera, but there's this beautiful peacock, and that sort of symbolizes like when they do their tail feathers, there's a vibrational sort of attractor energy they're putting out. And so this card is saying a lot about like attracts like, basically. And so like being careful, thinking about being aware of what thoughts emanate from you, what goes through your mind, what do you feed your mind, do you practice what you preach? And going back, like what I said with the hirophant and going back into childhood, it's sort of like following these, if there are any sort of like negative mental patterns that you're not stoked on, that might be making you feel off kilter a little bit. And it's like this card is saying to follow the thread back to where those started. Where was the seed of that way of thinking? And even just doing that can really clear up certain things for you, and alter the way, kind of dissolve that, if you can see where it sprouted from, and then start feeding your mind and thoughts more appropriately. And then it's also saying that there needs to be a little bit of clarity around what it is that you want in life to help that vibration calibrate. And to me, there's some kind of clue around authority with that. I think that's going to be different for everyone, so I hesitate like really getting into detail there, but that holds a key around your want and your vibration. So a projection that might be blocking you from seeing this core issue, from seeing mental patterns or the roots of certain mental patterns, or what you're feeding yourself, or just that idea of practicing what you preach type of thing, is there could be some pride that you need to be aware of. And there's like this little proverb that was given for this, well, not a proverb, it's sort of like a simile or a metaphor. It's comparing it to the wide mouth of a narrow vessel. And it's saying, this card talks a lot about needing to find some sort of sense of humility. There's a projection coming out that's a little bit narrow and potentially coming from like a self-interested place. So it's worth looking at like, where is some stubbornness maybe affecting your sense of support, especially from community or from authorities. So there might be some pride getting in the way of really connecting to authorities that could be really helpful for you, or pride getting in the way of like releasing authorities. It could go, you know, many ways, but there's some sort of pride, a narrow view that you're coming from that probably came in from childhood, some sort of rigid view about your connection, relation, or type of authority, that's blocking something right now around you seeing the type of vibration you're putting out, hence what you're attracting into your life. And then an action being asked of you to take is synthesis, an internal sort of inner action. And it says sort of, you know, parts don't make the whole is made of parts. So it's saying basically, like a puzzle, gather all the pieces, parts, ideas, facts, dreams. It may feel very scattered to you right now, trying to understand or see this issue around authority and around your mindset and around your pride, that something about it isn't clear to you. And it's just saying, like, gather all the data points, all the pieces, everything you can. And it's like a puzzle, and the more you kind of gather these and maybe put them in a list or in one place, like a picture is going to reveal itself. And all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, this is what's been in the way, or this is why I think this way, or this is what's created issues for me around authorities. So yeah, an internal action to be taken. This card is from the Materia Prima deck from Usi, and they've taken the periodic table and given sort of archetypes or mythic qualities to each of the elements. And for you guys, calcium came up. And this is really the element that's like the building blocks of life. It creates form and structure. It's the architect, the maker. It understands form and proportion. And it can be very prolific, but it needs slow time in order to master things, and like a deep focus and sort of limitations in order to focus. And to me, what's coming through is like, maybe this is who you are, and you're needing certain authorities or a sense of authority in your life in order to help you become this. You're like, to me, I feel like this is the calibration you want, but there's some things that have been in the way and you can't quite figure out like why you haven't been able to be this architectural. It doesn't have to be literally being an architect, but there's something that you know how to build and construct things in life, and there's something that's just been like off kilter. It's like you're constantly building life just like a little bit off center or leaning, or something's just one of the puzzle pieces is always missing or something, and it just like throws things off. And it's, to me, again, it's like going back in and looking at how you relate to authority, and like maybe you haven't found the right mentors and teachers and authorities, and you really need some training to help you become this. Or you might need to relate to your own sense of authority in a whole new way. And there's something about the vibrations you're putting out that are masked by a certain pride, but like, yeah, gathering all these pieces, all the evidence, all the mystifying things into one place, you'll get, the picture will come together of like what this, I feel like I can't quite interpret this because everyone's puzzle and image is going to come together differently, but I can tell you the steps of what to do in order to like get to this alignment that I feel like you need for some reason. Something deep about you, about being able to really create form and understand how space and consciousness work together, and how to take the time you need, appropriate time, appropriate focus, appropriate limitations of other things in life in order to do something with a prolific excellence. Yeah, that's what's coming through there. Okay, we are going to pull some tarot cards to get a little bit more information. See what comes through. And this is another, I kind of tried to pick all of like my most really prolific artistic decks. This is a deck put together with artwork from Hilma A.F. Klimt, who is also one of my favorite artists, along with Leonora Carrington. Okay. Okay. Already a thought. That was too many cards. Oh, wow. Tens galore. Let's see, can you guys see those? Push this up a little. Better. Okay. Interesting. Okay, this is really an interesting pull. Right. Okay, I'm going to start backwards. I kind of want to start with this Hermit card coming under Calcium. You are an instinctual being who needs to learn things for yourself in order to make them really pure and holistic, like untainted by other subjective things in the transmission or teaching of whatever it is. And I like that this Hermit is very structural to kind of go with Calcium. There's actual like geometric shapes, which is the first Hermit card I've seen that in. That's really fascinating. Yeah, it's like you have to go through your own processes. And so like kind of an opposite message is coming through here. Like maybe you are somebody who has been told and felt like they're supposed to have these great mentors or model themselves after some authority you've really looked up to, or find great authorities to train under. But this to me is actually saying like you have a very unique particular style that's all yours, and you're not going to learn that from any authority other than your own instinctual processes. So that's maybe a little opposite in a way, not necessarily, but just like a different message coming through around authority. That authorities will take you only so far. I think that's what I want to come through with. Authorities will only take you, teachers, mentors, authorities are only going to take you so far in order to become what it is you're trying to become. You need to take the time to connect your own particular rhythm and system that's all your own. Okay, so the other thing coming through is you put a lot on your plate. You got 2 10s, 10 of Wands and 10 of Swords under vibration and pride. and these two to me feel the most connected of any two cards to put together, just because it's like the issue and the projection. Yeah, I feel like death is coming through to say, like, you need to ease up on yourself too. You need to take some things off your plate. You need to let some projects go and not necessarily replace them with a new project, and just kind of like lighten that load so that you have the time and space to see what kind of vibrations and thoughts and energy you're putting out into the world. It's like maybe just like too scattered right now because there's just like so much you're trying to hold. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, look how aligned and balanced and put together this is. I feel like that's what you crave. But holding 10 wands or like 10 projects at a time makes it really hard for that balance to come through. And so I feel like this is saying, like, lighten your load a little bit, or minimally create a ritual or a rhythm, a daily rhythm that gives you some sort of space in order to process, download, recover, recuperate. You need a little bit more, like, maybe you are meant to take on a lot, but you need to prioritize giving yourself a little bit more space to process things, and that will help you better see the kind of energy you're putting out into the world. And then the 10 of Swords under Pride. Yeah, this is just, to me, it's, you know, the swords and the mind really have a relationship, and it feels like you might have some blocks. I don't know if you're comparing yourself to others. That's sort of what I'm feeling. Like there's some sort of comparison going on, that you feel like you need to hold all of this stuff in order to match up to certain peers or a competitor or some imaginary competitor that lived 100 years ago. I don't know, whatever it is. There's something or someone I feel like you're comparing yourself to that has your pride in the way of you being able to take the rest you need. It's, again, both of these 10s to me are saying, like, you need to pad your daily rhythm and like prioritize in a ritualistic way. So at this time every day you are regenerating, you are taking space for you, whether that's like going to a sauna or taking a power nap, whatever it is for you. Like, you need to pad your days with some ritual that gives you downtime, space, meditation, whatever that is for you. Okay, last card we are going to do is an inner compass card. It's just sort of like an ending thought for you guys, of some sort of directional thought of maybe a first step or how to approach this. The messenger. Okay, so to me, this is like synchronicities are all around you, around whatever the message is you need to take away from this. I'm not the only one saying it. You're getting maybe the same messages you've gotten in this reading in multiple ways. And you need to notice those synchronicities. If a message is coming through to you more than once in a short span of time, that is a message that's going to help you connect into everything we've talked about and really take a step towards that calibration you're needing, that alignment and realignment, recalibration that is needing right now at this point in your life. So I'm excited for you guys. I think you are like really amazing at some, you know, you have some sort of inherent amazing talent within you. It's ready to blossom into the world. And yeah, I mean, definitely some work ahead, but I'm really excited for you to kind of like find your calibration to become this thing that you know you are. So this is where I'm going to leave you, pile 2, and good luck on this calibration journey. Hello, pile 3. If this is your pile, you picked the beautiful turquoise. Let's see if we can focus it maybe. Well, anyway. I love this piece. It's like really limey and bright and vital. And the stones for the piles to me are symbolizing some core element around this reading of finding sort of alignment and calibration. And interestingly, turquoise is a stone of like bringing the whole body into well-being and some healing, and it balances and aligns the chakras. So like literally there's like something in the body, in the chakra system, that needs some sort of energy clearing or aligning or activations that will help kind of bring all of these systems of the body into alignment, which will help bring kind of earth and sky into your body in a way to alchemize that brings a lot of peace and balance. It's also a stone that sort of harmonizes the throat chakra very specifically to bring articulation of like really deep inner wisdom. So it helps to bring your inner world outside of yourself to be able to express deep wisdoms that you hold within, and being able to figure out a way to put them out into the world in an articulated way. So we're gonna look at these cards initially, and then I'm gonna pull a few tarot cards as well at the end. So Emperor, kind of being your cornerstone card, indicates to me that there might be a bit of chaos in your life, and you're really looking for a sense of sort of like bringing some sort of order and direction and ability to civilize your life in a way, if that makes sense. There's like a wildness that just is preventing you from sort of moving forward in life in some way and feeling like you know what you're directed towards and what you're building. So we're going to look at these other cards to get some more clues around what might be blocking that or how to get there. So these 3 cards are from a deck that looks at ancient Kemetian wisdom, especially from around the time when the Greeks were mingling with the Egyptians. So there's a little bit of Mediterranean influence in this specific Kemetian perspective. And there are, beyond just the themes of each card, there's also categories they fall in, which are either a core issue, a projection, or an internal or external action. And for you, you got, let's see, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, an external action, a core issue, and a projection. So we're going to go through these and clear some things up, I think. So abandonment showing up as a core issue. Oh no, as an action. This is an external action that needs to be taken. And it seems to be a theme in some of these cards. Like I feel like there's maybe been a loss in your life whether that's been a death, literally, or someone that just you've lost in a relationship, you know, like an ending of a relationship, or feeling separated from family for some reason, but there's been some sort of feeling of abandonment. And this card is telling you that so there was a proverb given about it. Growing on the rind will not make the fruit return. So this feels maybe somewhat final, whatever it is. And this card is telling you that the action that needs to be taken is to move on, to seek what you need elsewhere, and to you know, look at different boundaries, expand your boundaries, examine how your boundaries are maybe enclosing you in some sort of chaos that's really preventing you from feeling like your life has any kind of clear order and direction. Yeah, an action you can take to help in this is to move on, whatever that means to you. And then we've got a court issue that showed up, which is death. And this could be metaphoric, literal. It does feel somewhat, you know, it's interesting. These cards, they feel very tied to each other: abandonment, death. And this card is saying a lot. It's very kind of esoteric interpretation of death, is like longing is only about our perception of space. So the proverb given in this one is only distance is death. So there might need to be some sort of reverence for ancestors, a look at what came before you. What can you honor, I think, that's like haunting you? Death can really bring a very haunting feeling, whether that's like a literal death or a metaphoric death. What's sort of like haunting you, or what like longing are you holding that's been really hard to move past? And it's saying that something needs to be honored, that all matter is really immortal. It's just energy, and it moves on to some other form after. And so it's just like whatever leaves our life will, you know, it may not come in the same package, in the same person, but that energy will return. Like it will, when something leaves, new energy kind of congeals and comes up. But if we won't release it, if we won't release what's left, we don't allow it to return, to order and return. So like, yeah, there's some chaos because you're not allowing what's left to leave. Hence, you're stuck in some chaos. Hence, a sense of order is missing, is what I'm feeling here. And if you can just let whatever has left, whatever's wanting to leave, whatever has left, surrender to that, let it go, honor something about it that makes sense to you to honor. And some other energy will reform and come back up in your life in a new form, that will be really beautiful and really enhance your life. But yeah, there's something you really need to honor right now. And I think channeling ancestors is a beautiful way to engage in that, even if that's not what the death you're kind of cycling through right now. It feels like, to me, I feel like there's like a loop that's just like cycling, like an OCD thing or something. And honoring, even if it's not the specific death, but honoring the death of an ancestor or ancestors that have passed on or something in the other world, if you can find a way to honor that, that might help open a door to understand how you can honor the actual death that is looping inside of you. Yeah, it's like this connection to knowing how to honor something that's left our life, whether that, you know, has difficult negative feelings or not, you know, even if there's negative feelings around something that's left, there's something that needs to be honored in order to get out of the loop. And this is like a core issue. We also have Justice that showed up, which is a projection card, and it might be clouding this death or knowing how to honor something or let it go. And to me, this is saying there's something that you feel is very unfair about what's happened with either the abandonment, the death, or if they're, you know, intertwined. There's some kind of feeling of injustice maybe around this for you. And that's contributing to that loop, to that OCD thing that's happening. And this is, the picture on here is of the heart, and this is saying like you really need to drop out of your mind around this and move into your heart, and your heart will, no matter how unjust, unfair something might feel, if you move down into your heart, you're going to be able to move past this in your mind. The heart is always, there are more channels from the heart to the mind than the mind to the heart. Our heart is much stronger. So if you can try to figure out how to guide your life through your heart for right now, it's going to override your mind, and that loop is going to disappear, and you're going to find a way forward out of any sense of potential victimhood or unfairness. That those feelings on loop are just making more and more disorder and chaos and, you know, difficult things surrounding your life. So I think it's a really beautiful message coming through that if you can drop into your heart, no matter how hard that feels, it's going to help you get out of some sort of mental loop and some sort of negative attractor energy that's around you, and take that step to move forward with your life, to move on to new grounds, to find a fresh start and find new life. And then this card is from, it's called the Materia Prima deck from Usi, and they turned the periodic table into these sort of like archetypes and god and goddess type energies, which is really cool. And the card that came up for this reading is Bismuth. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right. I don't really know the periodic table. But this card wants to come through and communicate something about getting in touch with a higher reality, past matter, past gravity, past the human realm. There's a mind over matter element to this as well. And I think by getting into your heart first, dissolving this loop, it's going to release your mind to find this elevated reality because of what you've gone through, whatever this is, which is going to help you find the alignment you need and the fresh start you need to start seeing order and direction and what you want to civilize your life to be newly, freshly. There's a lot of, in that mind over matter, that I think you're only going to be able to reach if you kind of go through these other steps. There's what lies in that ground, in that high elevated place, is hope, forgiveness, transcendence and faith, really beautiful things that then would attract other really beautiful things to you, and just like a lot of just fresh potential, fresh impulse, passion, something. But yeah, this to me, more so than the first two piles. I haven't done pile 4 yet, but this feels like a very linear. The others weren't so linear, like, but this to me feels like steps, like move on from something, honor something that's left, drop into your heart to dissolve certain, loops, mental patterns, and reconnect to like what's in your heart, and then finding this mind over matter in this elevated state that then loops back and aligns you with being the emperor that this turquoise wants you to become right now, to be very aligned, to be very well and healed and balanced and able to really know what you want and speak it, and speak some sort of wisdom that you've gained from going through whatever this is talking about, that's kind of knocked you off kilter, decalibrated you a little bit. So yeah, really powerful stuff here. And I think it feels sort of like some clear steps to take. So I think that's obviously hard, but it's nice to have some sort of plan laid out, Okay, we're going to pull a few tarot cards for just any extra info. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow, okay. Yeah, there's some clear things coming through here. The 8 of Cups couldn't be more aligned with what this abandonment card was about. The 8 of Cups is about recognizing what you've been a part of, or what you've been sort of entangled in, is no longer fulfilling you on a deeper level, and it's time to move on. It's time to seek out that thing that like really connects to your deepest alignment. It's like you've been stuck in something that wasn't truly aligned for you. So it's either you need to step up and recognize this and step away and abandon it yourself, or if you feel abandoned, it's because it was never aligned for you. This was never the right thing for your path, for your energy. Okay, and then the 7 of Swords is indicating to me that you have success around you. Interestingly, I don't know if you can see it, because I feel like there's some sort of chaos and mental loops happening in you, but you do have success around you. But there's some naysayers too. There's some people potentially jealous of your position or very competitive around the success you're having, and sort of trying to position themselves, hence knocking you. And yeah, this is, or it could be that you need to let go of some kind of success that's become too catty. Maybe that's what it is. That's what I'm feeling with pairing this with death. Like there has been a success, but it's just become really unfulfilling because something about it has gotten like really out of control, catty. I don't know, maybe it's not catty, but it's like saturated. It's become something about it has become really immature. Not your success, but like the energy around the area you've had success in. there's something that's sort of gotten a little bit immature, and I think you need to let go. I feel like abandonment and death are saying similar things, like it's time to move on, but to honor, like honor what you've accomplished, honor what you've done. But you're meant for something that's a little bit deeper, a little bit more meaningful in life. You're meant to, with this Eight of Cups, really move towards something that fulfills you on a much, much deeper level. But you still need to honor what's kind of leaving your life right now. And then the Five of Swords to me is saying that like maybe there is kind of like a new potential already sort of deep down inside of you. And it feels maybe like a bit of a crossroads, or there's some kind of conflict around figuring out how to move toward this new thing. But dropping into your heart will help you kind of elevate up and see the correct way forward. Yeah, it's all through your heart, the way forward. And then under bismuth, with this higher reality, this mind over matter, this place where there's just like a lot of, it feels like there's a lot of compassion here. You're going to find collaborators. You're going to find sort of like your soul tribe or something. Minimally, like really great collaborative community or community you feel comfortable like being yourself with and celebrating with, but on a potentially bigger scale, like really amazing collaborators with this new higher place, this place that will bring new calibration to you, that has more depth, more meaning, and will bring you that position that you are of like an emperor, and knowing how to direct and knowing how to put things into action because you have this deep clarity. Okay, one more card. These are the inner compass cards, and we're just going to leave you with just a ending thought, whether it's an action to take or something to meditate on, but something that will kind of give you a directional to move forward, and an insight into something to help you on this path. Purity. Yeah, you really need to get into the depths of who you are. You need to do a little detox, even if it's for a day, or if you do like a week of like just eating healthy veggies and fruits or something, like just like a really, really clean eating, purge some spaces, really find a stillness to get in touch with your heart. Only consume like positive media, maybe even taking like a detox from media. That could do a lot for anybody. Whatever, it could be. Sorry, my battery died, but I am back, and I was at the very end anyway, but just to end cleanly. The last thought I want to leave with, like going back to what this moving on, literal or metaphorical death, I initially really felt it was like related to a person, but this could just also be like a cycle of life, like maybe you've graduated from a program, or are moving out of your family home to be on your own, kind of just like a new chapter too. It could be something around that as well. But the ending message, purity, do something to kind of like simplify, still, calm everything around you to, get some purity and a sense of freshness coming through, and maybe some rest. Maybe you need some rest too. Okay, that is where I'm going to leave you guys. Hello, pile 4. If this is your pile, you chose the Dalmatian jasper. So the stones I chose for each pile hold a symbolism that I feel like is sort of the main theme around this reading and around what you are needing help in recalibrating to find kind of your alignment and your truth and your I don't know, just sense of clarity and energy in life. So the Dalmatian jasper really connects to kind of like our inner child. So like a childlike joy and playfulness, an ability to move forward also with true purpose. I think there's something really important to be said for the way children connect to nature and how nature enlivens imagination, that it's a time and place, and even whatever age you are, engaging in nature and imagination is somewhere where you can really get insight into the magic of your true natural inner essence. And so for you guys, I feel like that is something that's been missing a little bit, that natural just playfulness and ability to kind of believe in the unseen and something a little bit more magical and wild in life, I guess. There is these black spots in the Dalmatian jasper is actually black tourmaline, which also helps to turn negatives into positives. So I feel like this is what's needing to happen. You're needing to take some negatives, turn them positive, and sort of embrace something a little bit more wild and magical about life in order to help you kind of calibrate to who you are, who you've become. It's at this juncture in life, that is just what's something that's needed that can really help you find sort of your alignment and balance. Okay, so starting off with the moon card. I love this moon card. It's so beautiful. There's like a little crab down here, wild hounds. Yeah, this is very similar message coming through to me as to what I was feeling with the Dalmatian jasper. Is there's something, you've put up some boundaries, I think, around allowing yourself to engage in life more through an intuitive lens rather than a logical lens. There may, whether it's up till now in life, that's something you've needed to stay balanced, is to come from a more logical place, or something that's always been a little off balance is that you haven't really leaned into your intuition. Whatever it is right now at this juncture, something around using intuition, using your soul to navigate, will bring a new kind of depth and alignment within you. There's something wild, deep, dark, feminine, intuitive, instinctual within you that you're kind of like maybe a little bit scared of, or just have some boundaries around, or are trying to keep some sort of control around it. But it's blocking some kind of calibration that you really need to feel some sort of alignment in life. So I mean, I don't know, everyone has their own relationship to this energy, but I'm like, I want everyone to unleash their kind of darker, more magical feminine side. So I'm all for this journey. Okay, so these next 3 cards come from a deck that I have forgotten the name, but I will put it in the description. That it was a cultural anthropologist made this, that leans into the wisdoms of Kemet, which is ancient Egypt, but specifically around the time when there was a heavy Greek influence. There was a lot of trading and connection between the cultures. So it has like sort of a Greco-Egyptian bent to them. And not only are there, meanings around the different themes or words on the card, but there are also 4 categories that they may fall in. So the categories that come up say just as much about what needs to be said here as to what the card says. And for you, so there are 4 categories. There's core issues, projections, and then 2 kinds of actions, whether it's internal actions or external actions. And for you, all 3 of these cards were external actions. So this is like to help you get calibrated, to help you embrace something a little bit darker and more wild and instinctual within you. There are action steps you can take to help kind of ignite this and bring it about and get in touch with this. So we'll go through these 3 and see if we can kind of put together an action plan for you guys. So the first card is nurturing. And these cards sort of have these little sayings at the start of them. At least in the book, they're not on the card. I kind of wish they put it's like little proverbs or something. I wish they kind of put those down here. But for this one, it says, that which you feed will continue to sit at your table. So this nurturing isn't completely about self-care the way I think like a lot of people use nurturing. I think there's a lot of dimensions to nurturing. This card's message around nurturing is sort of like, what are you feeding yourself with? And like, how are you feeding yourself? Where do you place your attentions in life? And it's really like this encouragement to only nurture certain like qualities, people, things, places, circumstances that you want to see perpetuate in your life. So that question about like, what that which you feed will continue to sit at your table. It's saying like the things you want to see appear in your life are there because you've fed them in some way, typically. And so like really paying attention to the things that are perpetuating in your life that you either don't do or don't like, kind of taking inventory of that, and feed the things that you want to see more of. And if there's something missing that you're not seeing any of, how can you give some attention to that and feed it, find a way to nurture those things and give them some of your attention. Yeah, so that's, I think, that action is quite an, using your intuition too, like leaning into not what you think should be in your life, but what you feel. So yeah, staying plugged into that moon energy. Don't necessarily lean into the oughts and shoulds and expectations of what should be nurtured and fed and perpetuated in your life, but like, what do you feel inside of you? What are you wanting to nurture for you, for your something deeper in you? Okay, so this Transcendence card is another action step, and there's all these cowrie shells on here. And the proverb it gets is, you swam the transcendent depths of the womb. It is there you learned what is right for you. So a cowrie shell has a symbolism of depth, of transcendent knowledge and good fortune. But it requires the ability to keep sort of like correct thought, holding your ego in check, and taking a high road for a best outcome. So I feel like there may be some compassion and forgiveness around something within you, some people around you, a circumstance, whatever it is. There's something that you're needing to find a high road around, that you need to channel something deeper within you that's able to do that. Kind of get out of your mind, drop into your heart, find, like, step into the other person's, you know, the moon is a reflector energy too. Like, step into the shoes of this other situation or the other side. What, you know, it may not be a person, but like step into the opposite side of whatever it is you're kind of really desiring to transcend a situation. Like, what's opposite that? How can you stand in that opposite energy in order to channel some compassion and empathy and an ability to see from a higher perspective and take a higher road with it that might be the thing, instead of coming from this logical place, coming from a soulful place, is actually the thing that helps you to transcend some situation in your life. And then a third action to take, we've got this Scorpion aggression card. I think it's really funny. This is a crab on the moon card, but they look so similar, the crab and the scorpion on these two drawings. Anyway, but I find it funny that aggression comes out with moon, because I think of the moon as like such a soft thing, and then this like aggression card comes out. But the proverb with this one said, let's see, slash and burn for richer fields. So the symbolism of this scorpion is aggression against attack. So I don't know if you're feeling, this is more of a defense card rather than aggression as like just being an aggressive person for the hell of it. Like, there may be an energy around you or a conflict around you where you're feeling attacked right now. And if there is some force around you that's warranting some sort of action, I usually wouldn't say this, but this is what the card says, so I'm going to put it out there, and I'm just going to say take it or leave it if that feels right for you. But it's saying to just like allow destruction to happen around you. I don't know if that's really the high road with the transcendence. This may make more sense to you guys. It's not a message that makes a huge amount of sense to me. I'm going to come through with like my own interpretation past the book, because what this reading is talking about is this more like soft but wild. I don't know, maybe that is unleashing, like maybe there is something in your soul and in that wild dark energy that needs to be unleashed, that needs to be like used. That's what it is. I think you need to use your more wild yin intuitive energy as the force to help you against attacks. So using intuition, coming from a non-logical place, a non-linear place, in order to kind of clear these obstacles, clear these attacks from around you. Yeah, you need to leave logic at the door with that in order to defeat or move past or whatever it is. And you need to like unleash it in just like an unbridled way. That's what's coming through. And then I love actually seeing the tiger right after that, because that is like a lunar night animal, and he's like really fierce right there. This is calling you to like really unleash your intuitive side. Oh man, like in a big, big way. I think you've been too mind-centered. And the things that are knocking you off kilter, off calibration, you're not going to solve it with your mind. You just aren't. You're just going to have to drop into intuition and instinct and something wild within. There you go. Okay, so moving on to this card is from this deck called the Materia Prima from Usi, and they turned the periodic table into sort of different archetypal type energies, which is really cool. So this card is fluorine. I'm not really familiar with the periodic table, so I don't know what fluorine is, but I love this tiger and the illustration, and then I love what the book said too, and it really does plug into everything we've been talking about. This is life, letting life get into you in a way where you feel enchanted by it and almost wake up from some kind of slumber or zombiness or like automatic kind of roles you've been in. Like, allow the wildness of life to move through you and wake up something new within that's like enchanting and also like mischievous. This reading is hilarious. It's like telling you to be kind of naughty. I feel like I actually really want to hear if anyone gets this pile, like what this is about, because it's hysterical. Yeah, it's like telling you to be mischievous and let the wildness of life enter you and wake you up in like a totally different way, to a wild potential. This will allow you to get closer to, but there's a temptation here. I'm going to talk about this, but then like kind of give the warning too of like getting closer to that wild energy of creation of the cosmos. This energy is going to allow you to get a view of this, but there's going to be a temptation to want to like possess or hold it, or like drop back in, as we've talked about, like that more linear or logical mind, like trying to grasp it to use that way. And it's like, no, don't do that. Just like you're getting a view, but that's all you get, because that's all a human is capable of handling. So allow yourself to like be seduced by the magic of, you know, nature and the world and the wildness of it, to see something different about life, but don't try to figure it out. You know, just let it be. Watch it, feel it, understand how it brings a whole sense of like renewal, and how it plays with cycles and spirals and orbits and revolutions. So, but be very aware that you are human and you cannot harness this energy for yourself. You can't hold it, but do indulge in being exposed to it and seeing it and feeling it go through you. And if you allow that space, if you allow it to just be what it is without trying to control it or hold it, there will be sort of like, you know, you have to find some humility and a sense of willingness to give space to things in order to do this, but you'll be rewarded for it, being able to see into some of the deeper mysteries and beauties and truths of life in like a much deeper way. Let's see. One of the things it says is like getting a chance to participate and enter into the wild heartbeat of the world. I think that's a really beautiful thing. Yeah, this is waking up your wildness, and there's maybe been these situations around you that's the only way through them is out of mind and through some sort of intuitive wild territory. Let's see. It is, some of the keywords for this card are self-control, focus, potential, mortal, and perilous. So like really understanding your mortality and the danger of like some of these more wild elements of cosmic creation, and having the humility and self-control. It's really funny. There's a paradox with that self-control, because I feel like it's saying, like, let go of the control of logic and mind and enter to this wild territory, but have self-control in terms of like not allowing that part of you to want to possess or grab it, you know. But it is sort of like, you know, it's definitely dangerous territory. It's a place where we can easily get a little bit lost, and I feel like you know that, and you're a little bit, you've got some boundaries, and you're nervous about it. You don't like it, maybe. But if you want to, you know, calibrate to the person you've become and the balance you need right now, that is the way forward. Okay, we are going to pick a few tarot cards to just tease out a little bit more information, and then we have one last sort of directional compass card at the end. Oh, Magician. Hell yeah. Take that. Ooh, okay. I love this. Definitely the Magician coming through. You may be trying to manifest things in life, and you're just, it's eluded you, and there's been these barriers, and letting go into this more intuitive, wild territory is going to allow you to be the manifester that you know you are. You're just missing this calibration. You're missing this, you know, this key factor of just like letting yourself find and develop the more feminine side of yourself, whatever gender you identify as, the more wild, instinctual, dark element within you. You really, by unleashing that, you're gonna find the balance to your more yang, logical side. And it's gonna really help you manifest new things in your life and nurture the right things that you really on a deeper level want to see perpetuate in your life. There is like, yeah, I don't know, like I feel like there's it's I don't know, like this is the image that comes to me. It doesn't really have anything to do with the Nine of Wands, but it's what came. Like I almost feel like you feel like someone has a voodoo doll and they're like torturing you, but I think you know who or what or where these ill wishes or energies are coming from, whether it's just a scenario or a person or something. Like you know where it's coming from, but it feels like behind the scenes you're being stuck like with pins, like from a voodoo doll. And you need to come at that with love instead of retaliation. I think that's what this is saying. Like, yeah, like we said with like finding the higher road, you need to find a way to step into the opposite position to gain some kind of understanding of why these darts are hitting you, and forgive it. And then I think they'll kind of fall away. Queen of Pentacles really knows how to nurture what we deeply, intuitively want in life. Not just to have a lot of material abundance and possession, but like to know what truly feeds us in the material realm, which includes our sense of voice and our sense of personal values, and she knows how to balance these things and mold them and bring an alignment that's really solid and really textural and sensual and alive with something, you know, like physically alive with something. And yeah, this card, speaking more to me about this, what we nurture, what you want perpetuated in your life. But again, to find the balance that she knows how to create, that you are becoming, you need to let out your intuitive side. You need to let out your nurturing, caring, so, like something more communal and caring, but that is protective too. It's like this protective quality that is aggressively used. And then the Ace of Cups, I feel like when you get to this point of like really letting go into the enchantment of this more wild element of life and seeing some deeper truths, your heart is just going to, like, that alignment that you can find by doing this won't just be like, oh yeah, okay, I feel peace now. Like, your heart will be so overflowing, and you're gonna feel like you have so much to give. Whereas right now you may feel like you don't really have anything to give. You're being attacked, there's conflict, you're nurturing the incorrect things. But going through this work, taking these action steps, embracing something more mystical and magical and dark and wild and whatever within, is bringing this balance to you that is really going to make you feel full on such a personal, deep, soulful level. So that is beautiful. Okay, one more card, just kind of this directional element. Yeah, I love it. Transformation. You just, yeah, you need to, like, transformation is messy business. It is not linear. It is not logical. You need to let go. You need to let certain things crumble around you. You need to be willing to renovate, to rip things out, to as this wild, more dark, intuitive territory comes out, it may feel like it's deconstructing parts of you. But a feeling of crisis is just a transition. And that transition is a transformation that is going to totally empower you to feel full, to feel like you've touched your soul, to feel like you are fulfilled in spiritual, material, mental, emotional, all of the ways. So really cool. You just have to channel some bravery to let that wildness out, you guys. That's what I'm gonna say. And good luck with that. I think it will be a really powerful journey. All right, thanks guys.